All right, so what if I told you that a really strange theory from physics, one about the very nature of time itself, is actually connected to a revolutionary way of running a business? I know, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, right? But bear with me, because the link between these two things, it reveals this incredible blueprint for building organizations that don't just scrape by, but actually, thrive. So let's just start with a question that's probably going to challenge a really fundamental assumption you have. We're all taught that time is like a river, right? It just flows from the past, through the present, into the future. But what if that's just wrong? What if you're not actually moving through time at all? Okay, so this is where a pretty wild concept from physics comes into play. It's called the block universe theory. And what it suggests is that all of time, your past, the present moment, right now, and everything in your future, it all exists at the same time, simultaneously. It's all just one big, complete four-dimensional thing. To make that a little easier to wrap your head around, let's use an analogy. Think of your entire life from the day you were born to the day you die as a single loaf of bread. The whole loaf is already there, existing all at once. Your past isn't something that's vanished, and your future isn't something that's yet to be created. They're just different slices of that same loaf. So if that's true, why does it feel like time is flowing forward? Well, it's because your brain literally can't process the entire loaf at once. It can only see one slice at a time. That experience you call the present moment, it's just your consciousness revealing the loaf to you slice by slice by slice. It's not really an illusion, it's more of a cognitive limitation. And this right here is the key takeaway. Our experience of reality is totally shaped by how we process it. And that exact same principle, it applies to all systems. All right, now let's see how this whole concept applies beyond just our own minds. We're going to shift gears a bit from the physics of time to the physics of systems. See, just like our brains have a certain way of processing that loaf of time, all living systems have a mode of operation. You can almost think of it like a spectrum or a continuum. And this continuum really has two fundamental states. On one end, you've got what are called reactionary systems. Think of something like a bacteria moving towards food. It's a super simple input-output machine. It only responds to what's happening right now. It's extractive. But on the other end, you have predictive systems. Now, these are way more complex. They actually build an internal model of the world to simulate what might happen next, and then they act based on that. They're generative. And this evolution, it happens in stages. So you start with just simple reaction, but the massive, game-changing leap is to stage 2, prediction. Think about a dog hearing a can opener. It doesn't just react to the sound, it predicts that food is on the way. And this ability to anticipate is what allows for much more complex, much more successful behavior. And that final stage, self-awareness, well, that's really just that same predictive ability, but turned inward on itself. Okay, so we've got our framework, right? Reality is a whole loaf, and systems can either just react to the current slice, or they can learn to predict the slices that are coming up. Now, let's get practical. Let's apply this directly to business. How in the world do you build an organization that operates at that higher, predictive level? Yeah, that really is the key question, isn't it? An organization that's always in survival mode, just putting out fires left and right, that's a reactionary system. It's basically the bacteria we were talking about. But a truly great organization, it anticipates. It builds for the long-term future. It operates as a predictive system. So again, how do you actually build one? Well, you build one with a blueprint. And this is it. This is the next-gen 10-point scorecard. Think of it as a diagnostic tool for creating one of these high-trust, predictive organizations. It's basically a structural audit designed to shift a business from being reactionary to being generative. And each of these 10 points here is like a critical gear in that machine. Look at number 1, autonomy, or number 6, information flow. These aren't just some fluffy corporate buzzwords. They are actual, measurable indicators of whether your organization is built to react or to predict. We're not going to go through all 10 of them right now, but we'll pull out a few just to show you how this whole thing works in the real world. Okay, let's make this really tangible. We're going to look at a few key points from that scorecard and see how this physics of prediction actually plays out in the workplace, like every single day. Let's kick things off with time horizon. A reactionary business, it's totally stuck in what the source material calls the 3-week trap. They're obsessed with this quarter's earnings, this month's numbers. It's like they're building a bonfire. Sure, it looks bright and impressive for a minute, but it burns out super fast. A predictive organization, on the other hand, operates on a 10-year horizon. It's not building a bonfire, it's planting a forest, patiently building long-term value that's actually going to last. And this same exact principle applies to leadership.
This is something called the teacher standard. See, a reactionary leader, they create dependency. They make the whole system reliant on them being there. A predictive leader does the opposite. They build a system that can run without them. The whole goal is to make their people so skilled, so autonomous, that the leader actually becomes obsolete for all the day-to-day stuff.
This really forces leaders to ask themselves a fundamental question. A crutch, it gives you temporary support, but in the long run, it just weakens the muscle. It creates dependency. A coach, though, builds that muscle up until the support isn't even needed anymore. They create empowerment. One is reactionary, the other is predictive. Simple as that. And guess what? This same logic applies to building your company culture. A reactionary system just waits for something to go wrong, and then it punishes that behavior. A predictive system, using what the scorecard calls empathy capture, actively goes out and looks for the good stuff and rewards it. It's about systematically reinforcing the exact behavior you want to see more of. You literally stop focusing on the negative and start celebrating the positive. Why? Because what gets rewarded is what gets repeated. Okay, so let's bring this all back together. We started way out there with this grand cosmic idea about time, and we ended up with super specific, practical ways to run a team. And the connection between them, it's actually pretty profound.
There are these lyrics from a song called Nested in the Grain that just capture this whole idea perfectly. Just like we are, information experiencing itself, one slice at a time from a cosmic loaf, our organizations face the same choice. They can either just react to their tiny little slice of the present market, or they can build a system that tries to understand the shape of the whole loaf, the entire future of their industry.
Look, if any of this is resonating with you, if you've ever had that gut feeling that there's a better, more human, more long-term way to build a business, while everyone else seems to be stuck in that 3-week trap, then this framework is for you. The thing is, established systems are slow. They're built to reward consensus, not real innovation. So if your ideas feel kind of weird or out there, it doesn't mean they're wrong. It probably just means you're early. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. Are you building your business for the next slice, just reacting to whatever is immediately in front of you? Or are you a leader with a truly predictive horizon, someone who's patiently building a system designed for the whole loaf? The choice really is yours.